and welcome to another amazing Master Broker Forum virtual panel discussion. We're delighted to bring you a powerhouse, and that's an understatement. Getting these people together on an afternoon like this, it's a major accomplishment. And I'm adding this, Jason. This is really, truly a powerhouse panel of true movers and shakers to discuss this extraordinary moment for Miami and what it means for our industry. Be advised that this Zoom is being recorded and will be made available to all on our YouTube channel, distributed in a recap email we will be sending next week. Before we meet our amazing panelists and moderator, please allow me a moment to introduce myself. This is my first event, official event, as the Miami MBF chair. My name is Ileana Abella, and I've been a proud member of the Master Brokers for 16 years and board member since 2005. For the past 7 years, I've served as a treasurer, and I'm honored to be following in the footsteps of past chair Jeff Moore, who should be somewhere around. While I'm pleased to know so many of you, I probably have not met everyone, but we're hoping to fix that in the next coming weeks and months. The advisory board have some big goals for 2021 and beyond, and want to thank you all for your continued support during this absolutely challenging past year. To that end, we're very grateful to the more than 100 members who have already paid their dues for this year. We reduced the 2021 dues from $350 to $300 in recognition of the uncertainty surrounding our ability to gather in-person events, and also offer an additional $25 discount for early payments. If you have not made your payment, don't worry. We will be sending out some reminders, and you have until March 31st. Please know that we are eager to resume our signature Master Brokers Forum events. The in-person events are amazing, and we plan to do so as soon as we believe it is safe for everyone. And on this, I would like to bring on Claudia Lewis, membership, and she's going to introduce our new members.
Hi, everyone. I'm Claudia Lewis, the membership chair, and I am very delighted to introduce a few of our most recently activated members. We have Taylor Taglioni at One Sotheby's, Minette Schwartz at Compass, and also manager Yasser Ponce at Compass. We've also invited 3 potential new members who will in all likelihood be approved at our meeting next week. They are Juliana Savoy from Coldwell Banker, Lucas Lechuga from Lux Living Realty, and manager Michael Suarez from Coldwell Banker in Key Biscayne. Welcome to all our new members.
All right. So with that, let's shift our attention to this transformational opportunity for Miami. As has been widely reported in the New York Times, the Wall Street Journal, and elsewhere, the financial giants of Wall Street and the tech titans of Silicon Valley have discovered Miami in a big way. And they really like what they've seen. They've seen a culturally vibrant and diverse city in a tax-friendly state with resources, energy, and eagerness to welcome them. These companies, many of them household names we know very well, have grown frustrated with rising taxes, uncomfortable weather, cost of living, and stringent regulations in their current locations, and have already committed to major expansions or full-on relocations to South Florida. Isn't that incredible? Woo! This surge of interest is unprecedented, and it's an unprecedented chance for Miami and South Florida to expand its economic base and position itself as a global center for technology, innovation, and high finance for decades to come. This incredible moment has been made possible by the people we will hear from in just a moment. An ambitious and imaginative developer, a forward-thinking leader of Miami's tech and innovation scene, a dynamic commercial real estate trailblazer, and a charismatic, visionary mayor who has become the face of this unique opportunity for our city. Our fantastic moderator is a key leader with the Downtown Development Authority, the agency tasked with growing, strengthening, and promoting the economic vitality of downtown Miami by reinforcing its position as an international hub for commerce, cultural, and tourism. Ilona Vega has been part of the Business Development Authority since 2016. She's part of the team, and she engages with companies to ensure that existing downtown employees remain in downtown and recruits new companies to the district. Focused on building downtown Miami's finance and technology sectors, Ilona traveled extensively pre-COVID and continues to promote the city to both domestic and international investors. Before joining the Miami DDA, Ilona worked at Enterprise Florida, the state's official economic development agency, for 11 years. She was based in Miami, where she helped Florida manufacturers develop markets abroad and recruited strategic foreign direct investment to the state. Wow, Ilona. All master brokers may recall that she was a panelist for our July 2020 discussion. Now, please join me in welcoming her back today as our esteemed moderator, Ilona Vega.
Well, thank you, Ileana. And I think today might be a first to have an Ileana opening remarks and an Ilona as a moderator. So
as Jason say, it's the Ileana and Ilona show.
I like it. I like it a lot. Well, thank you, Ileana, once again, and greetings to the Master Brokers Forum. It's my pleasure to be with you here once again. And on behalf of the team of the Miami Downtown Development Authority, we are delighted to be a part of this conversation and to see the fruits of our corporate recruitment and marketing labors come to pass. We are pleased to be joined by amazing partners in this effort, who I will introduce in just a moment. As moderator, I will ask our panelists some big picture questions about the trends we have seen over the past year, and a few specific questions regarding their unique areas of expertise. We are mindful of our audience being comprised of Miami's elite residential real estate professionals, and will gear the conversation accordingly. We anticipate the discussion to take about 45 minutes to complete, and then we'll take some questions from the chat room before we turn it back to Ileana for her closing remarks. And now let's meet our extraordinary panelists today. Francis Suarez is the 33rd mayor of the city of Miami. As the city's first Miami-born mayor, he is committed to building a Miami that lasts forever and welcomes everyone, championing the integration of climate adaptive technologies, building practices and economic policies across all facets of government as part of his Miami Forever plan. Under his leadership, Mayor Suarez has pursued a package of affordable housing reforms that leverages federal opportunity zones with the activation of underutilized land to increase access to affordable housing and home ownership for working people and communities of color. Mayor Suarez earned his bachelor's degree from FIU and his law degree from University of Florida. In 2022, he was nominated and elected to serve as the second vice president of the U.S. Conference of Mayors and to be president the year after. He currently practices law with Green Spoon Martyr. A warm welcome to the Honorable Francis Suarez.
Thank you.
Our next panelist is Danette Linares. She is Executive Vice Chairman of Blanca Commercial Real Estate, an independently owned commercial real estate services firm in Florida. She has more than 25 years of experience in the industry. On behalf of the firm, Danette leads in the leasing of significant office projects, such as Miami Central, Brickell City Tower, the Plaza Coral Gables, 396 Alhambra and Royal Palm Office Park. She has been involved in several of the South Florida's largest real estate transactions and has represented firms like the Knight Foundation, Miami Foundation, White & Case, among others. Since joining the firm in 2009, she has completed over 4 million square feet of office lease transaction throughout South Florida on behalf of owners and users of commercial real estate. Danette is an active leader in the South Florida community and a longtime board member of the Miami Downtown Development Authority. Danette is a graduate of St. John's University, and a warm welcome to Danette. Nitin Matwani is our next panelist, and he serves as the managing partner of Miami World Center Associates since 2006, overseeing the development of a $4 billion mixed-use real estate project located in the heart of downtown Miami, encompassing 27 acres of retail, residential, office, and hotel uses. Miami World Center is the largest urban development project underway in Miami and among the largest in the United States. Nitin is also managing partner of Merrimack Ventures and managing director of Encore Capital Management, a private equity fund focused on opportunistic real estate investments and developments. Nitin is an active member of the Greater South Florida business community, where he is also a longstanding board member of the Miami Downtown Development Authority. He is also board chair of the University of Miami's Master of Real Estate Development program and was recently named co-chair for One Community, One Goal, which is Miami-Dade's long-term strategic plan for economic development. Nitin received his undergraduate degree from Duke University and his master's from Columbia University. A warm welcome to Nitin. And our fourth panelist is a native to Miami. Melissa Medina Jimenez is currently president of Emerge Americas, the premier technology event of the Americas, which she helped to launch back in May of 2014. Emerge is an annual large-scale global technology conference held in Miami, which provides a platform for the advancement of technology, the sharing of ideas while connecting Latin America with the rest of the world. The mission of Emerge Americas is to serve as a catalyst for establishing Miami as the tech hub of the Americas. Melissa is also president of the Medina Family Foundation, which has a mission to fund local initiatives that focus on mentoring children, empowering families by enhancing education and quality of life. Melissa was named by the South Florida Business Journal as one of the 2019 Power Leaders in Technology. Melissa earned her undergraduate and graduate business degrees from University of Florida and Barcelona's ESADE. A warm welcome to Melissa. Okay, so welcome everybody, and let's get this party started. The idea is to make this a lively conversation. So if I ask a question to one panelist and another panelist wants to jump in, please feel free to do so. So the first two questions are kind of for all four panelists. And of course, we're going to begin with Mayor Suarez. Mayor, you have been very busy with your Cafecito talks. Congratulations and thank you for your hard work. It's really been phenomenal. The list of tech and finance companies announcing their intentions to move or open an office here is impressive. Archer, Starwood Capital, Icon Enterprises, Citadel, Blackstone, the list goes on. And of course, there's rumors. We've heard rumors about Google, Microsoft, Goldman Sachs looking around. In your view, what makes this more of a movement rather than a moment?
Well, first of all, thank you so much for the opportunity to be with you and so many of my friends and so many people who have helped make this moment possible. This moment that we're going to convert into, and we are converting into, a movement, really began over 10 years ago with Manny Medina, who's Melissa's father, who began and sold a company that people thought would never succeed. It was one of the first data centers and one of the first network access points for the internet ever established. And so when that happened, his vision of creating the kind of city that could be a tech hub and could really be in the forefront of the knowledge-based economy became possible. And I think this community, and there's so many people who are on here like Danette and Matt, who's not on, I don't know if Matt's on, but Nitin and so many others, we all methodically, and Melissa, of course, we all methodically started rowing in the same direction to try to create the kind of ecosystem that could support a moment like the one that we're in right now. And so had that effort not happened, had all of those people not been working conscientiously to create the underpinnings of an economy that could sustain the moment that we're in, this would certainly be a moment and not a movement. What I think has happened is a confluence of macro factors, many of which we don't control, have come together. Things like the SALT deduction, things like remote work, obviously the fact that we were open during COVID, and all of those things brought tremendous amount of people to Miami. And what happened when I put out the tweet of how can I help to the tweet of what if we move Silicon Valley to Miami, what I was essentially doing was going to a beehive and shaking it. And what I realized was that all the bees that were that were actually here were just not connecting with each other. There wasn't this idea. People were coming, but they weren't connecting. And so my Twitter became sort of a virtual Sandhill Road where people could connect and could interact. And now what we're seeing is the kind of density and the kind of continual meetings, dinners, meetups, social media chat rooms, all kinds of things where people are constantly talking about, creating technology companies, funding technology companies. I was at a shul last night, and this is a true story, and it's amazing, and it really shows, I think, how far we've come. And there was a young man in the audience wearing a "How Can I Help" T-shirt underneath a jacket, right? And this is a true story. He really said this. He said, somebody gave me the T-shirt. And he told me who gave him the T-shirt. He said, I was wearing the T-shirt one day and somebody stopped me in the street and said, "Hey, do you have a tech company?" And he said, "Yeah." And he started talking to the person about his tech company. That person funded his tech company. So he said he went out and bought 10 more T-shirts. He said he doesn't even wear T-shirts underneath jackets. That's something he doesn't do. He went out and bought 10 more T-shirts so that every single day he can wear the T-shirt and it not be dirty, right? And so he has a revolving set of T-shirts, and then I have another story where one of my good friends, who's a commissioner in Coral Gables, helped create a company that it's basically an app that's for governmental accountability. And he asked me as a favor if I would retweet the app. And I did, not thinking anything of it. He got 4 VCs call him after we retweeted the app. And I have people that come in every single day that are asking, I had a meeting today. This is a true story number 3. I had a meeting today with this company that it's a staffing company. And so they're talking to me about their company and they're telling me all about their company. So, well, listen, how can I help you? I mean, what's the purpose of the meeting? And they go, "We just want to be on one of your Cafecito Tech Talks." And I said, "Done, let's do it." Got the cameras, we did it all. We actually filmed it right away. But it's just interesting that what we've created is a new narrative. We have created a new narrative for the city of Miami. Miami is no longer just a fun and fun place where you can come and retire. We have created a tectonic shift, and Nitin, through his work at the DDA and trying to bring, hedge funds and private equity funds and investment banks and banks to Miami in combination with all of the venture capital that's coming from Silicon Valley. We've never seen anything like this anywhere in the history of the world. Where these confluence and collisions of capital have come together. And so when people ask me, well, where do you see this going? What's your vision? And my answer is, it may even be something greater than what Manny ever envisioned. It could end up becoming the epicenter for capital and for companies to form in the world because of our geo position and because of all these factors that are converging in one moment. And it's a generational opportunity.
I couldn't agree more. It's just phenomenal. And believe me, I'm getting zillions of calls every day, people wanting a Cafecito Talk. So Danette, tell us, is it a moment or is it a movement?
We think it's definitely a movement. This feels so much different than anything that we've seen before. I've been in commercial real estate in downtown since the early 90s, and we've always had our waves. We'd have our .com, .bomb waves. We've had insurance companies. This is completely different. We have right now 1.5 million square feet of new to market tenants looking at office space right now. That's staggering. Normally, that represents a 40% increase over 2019 and 2018. And this is something that we're seeing tenants that not only are 2,000 square feet, which is, a lot of what we've been seeing in the past. The average tenant size in Miami is 5,000 square feet, but now we're seeing something different. We're seeing 25,000, 50,000, 75,000 square foot tenants, even 100,000 square foot tenants wanting to relocate their offices down here. And a lot of it has to do, with the tax, but also the fact that, yes, we are open for business. We have a great environment. You can work from anywhere. And the other thing is that the people that they normally do business with in New York or Chicago or LA, San Francisco, they're actually here now. So instead of, the fear was always like, oh, well, my clients are in New York. Well, guess what? Now, because of COVID, a lot of them moved down here. They realize that they can work easily from Miami, and it's beautiful in South Florida. And let's just move our offices here. The other thing that we're seeing is that this is now a shift where the employees are the ones that are making the decisions for the company. So companies are interviewing their employees and asking, where do you want to, we're going to open up another office. Where do you want to be? Miami is on the top of the list. So we're really excited. We're seeing 75% of what we're doing every day. And I speak to my fellow colleagues, other commercial real estate firms throughout South Florida. Actually, mainly Miami and Palm Beach are the two ones that are seeing a lot of activity, but we're also seeing activity in Fort Lauderdale. But 75% of the activity that we're seeing are for new to market tenants versus before it used to be 75% just existing tenants moving from one building to another or expanding. So, and in addition to that 1.5 million square feet of new to market tenants that we're seeing, a million of it, in addition, there's a million of existing tenants that are growing in Miami.
Wow.
Amazing.
It's phenomenal. Melissa, Is it a moment? Is it a movement?
Oh no, I mean, we've been calling this a movement for a while now. And, I would echo a lot of what both the mayor and Danette said. And I think the hard work of several people, organizations over the last 10 years, like the mayor said, including Danette's husband, Matt, who really kind of spearheaded and supported with resources to the Knight Foundation, a lot of the tech and entrepreneur initiatives have laid a solid foundation to now be able to attract this critical mass here. I mean, clearly, COVID has played a major role in the acceleration of this. But I firmly believe that without the foundation that was already here, without public leaders and support like Mayor Suarez, without innovative leaders like Mitten and people like Danette as well, we wouldn't be able to seize this moment right now and really make it a movement. And so, yes, the answer is unequivocally, this is not going anywhere. This is not a moment in time. This is absolutely staying here, and in my opinion, only growing from here.
And Nitin, what's your take on it?
Well, specifically where my take on this is, Alona, since you're stuck with having to deal with me on this for many years now. So I think a lot's been said, and this is thankfully a community where people rally together. Frankly, I think economic development had been lazy for a long time, and folks just felt because we had sun and low taxes, that was enough, and it wasn't. And I just think it was lazy. I think there were a lot of people just kind of enjoying and letting inertia play its course without telling what was really happening in Miami. And so, back in 2013, when people still didn't understand that we were a real thriving community that had invested billions of dollars in arts and culture and that in transportation and all of these other things, that's what we started doing at the DDA. And we would go and we had what we called a Dunkin' Donuts budget. We'd go meet with these folks in New York or Connecticut. We couldn't offer them any incentives. We didn't have Mayor Suarez as the mayor at the time, so we couldn't offer, his efforts, his office, and make him available the way he has been. He was a commissioner who was very willing, as was Commissioner Sarnoff, who was our chair at the time when we started. So it was a lot of like positive stuff going on, but we really just went and sat with people and said, this is what's happening in Miami. And actually a building Danette was leasing at the time, we went and said, give us some office space. It was a tough time. And we said, let us invite people to stay. So you come to Miami, you go to the beach, you hang out at your beautiful condo or hotel, stay for a couple of days, plug in your Bloomberg and see what it's like in the neighborhoods that were happening. And the more people learned, it was like this great untold story. And we started with our first hedge fund in 2013, which has grown from 3 billion to 9 billion today. And we've added 60, 65 others all before COVID. And what the mayor's talking about and what you've heard thus far is we had laid a foundation where when CEOs, portfolio managers, important decision-making people started asking around, there were plenty of people down here that were already around, right? That were communicating. It could say, yes, we found talent. Yes, we've raised capital. All of the things that worry people. And one of the biggest things that worry people is education, because people don't appreciate how strong our education system has grown under Superintendent Carvalho's leadership, but also our private schools. Most of these people are used to sending their kids to private schools anyway. And so a lot of this was just getting people to look at a bigger story. So what did COVID do? It brought them all down here during the time when none of them are usually here, which is the summer. And the more time they spent here, the more they loved it. And they found our community incredibly welcoming. And most importantly, they realized a secret that we were all aware of, which is you can actually enjoy your life while working. Right. And so I think that was like a light bulb that went off in people's head. I was just in New York last week for the first time in 18 months, walking around, and it's a very different environment there. Given, we're blessed to be living what we're living down here. And I think that as folks have spent time down here, they're seeing it. And these are decision makers. So that we had not yet been discovered by the tech community. Emerge did a massive benefit to us by bringing so many people here who started asking questions. And then when COVID hit, suddenly everybody is focused on, wait, there's more people like me here. And through the mayor's efforts and others, suddenly everyone's connected. And they're like, wait, you're here, I'm here, why are we here? Why aren't our companies here? Why aren't our portfolio companies here? And so I had lunch with somebody the other day who said not only is he moving his company, but 4 companies he advises are moving. That's 300 engineers earning $80,000 to $200,000. Those are the kinds of jobs we need. So I think what's happening, and it's clearly a movement. We're going to get trash talked by some of the press because they love to pick on Miami, but it doesn't matter. They can't stop what's happening here. But we all can't be lazy about it or rest on our laurels either. We have to constantly be pushing, constantly be. Mayor and I were going back and forth today about this article because we have to be responsive to it. And by the way, something funny in that article, someone they mentioned who's leaving South Florida and moving back to New York confirmed that he's not leaving South Florida, but it's just details. It's just details. And I don't want to be left out of a Manny Medina story. So we started Miami World Center and told everyone we're the land wrapped around the Knapp Center. And our vision was to build an office building for all these tech companies, plugging into the Knapp Center, leveraging all of its capabilities, which no one understood at the time. No. Now, given all the investment, we can say we're around the Performing Arts Center, Museum of Art Science, the AAA Brightline, and the Knapp Center. So we're very excited that we're moving forward with an office building to take advantage of all the info that Danette had suggested.
But by the way, just a real quick point on the person that Nitin was describing. That person is moving their hedge fund, $20 billion under management, assets under management. Nobody's heard about it. It's not public. And they're putting a contract on a $50 million house today. Okay.
And all his team is too. They're all looking. So
today,
the article said that he's moving back to New York. So
and he's living in the Grove today. Okay. I'm just telling you. I know the house, by the way.
And the other thing that's interesting about this movement is the fact that there are people coming here and the salaries are amazing. And that's really just helping fuel additional people and companies coming here, because the knock was, oh, well, if I move to Miami, if I don't like my job anymore, where am I going to go to? And now that's no longer an impediment. The other companies are coming.
we're all in agreement that.
Can I
this-
just jump in on that issue? Because I want to give you DDA kudos. Right, the DDA, there was just an article published in the Miami Herald that talked about the DDA subsidy program and how it's creating 700 new jobs in the downtown area. That's 700 jobs at an average. I know I'm gonna be actually low on this, right? It was an average of 100 and something thousand, but let's just call it 100,000 just to make it the math easy. That's $70 million in economic purchasing power on an annual basis. Let that sink in. That is $70 million in recurring annual revenue that is being generated from a program which we invest a couple of $100,000. I mean, it's unbelievable. And I think that you just hit a very important point, which is the salaries that this industry is creating. If we really want to get people out of poverty, if we really want to create income equality, we have to create the kind of jobs that will allow people to be able to not have to live in affordable housing and to be able to live and provide for their families. And that's the kind of stuff that is happening.
And on that note, I don't know if Nitin wants to talk about the specifics of the criteria for the incentive, because the more the brokers know about our incentive program, the more they can share with their clients.
Yeah, look, let me talk about the concept and the specifics. And the concept is, we're offering $150,000 over 3 years if people meet a certain amount of employment hirings, right? So, so some folks came out initially and were like, why would you give money to hedge funds and private equity companies? The first conversation we had with one of the largest recipients of this was, I want to donate to the community. How do I engage in the millions of dollars level? So this isn't the dollars that's going to push somebody, no one's leaving their headquarters. A $20 billion hedge fund isn't moving their headquarters, their staff, their team. I mean, that's tens of millions of dollars to relocate that infrastructure. But it's a gesture that shows that we are serious. Right. We're open for business. We welcome them with open arms, and we want to continue to diversify our economy. And to the mayor's point, those 700 jobs weren't just in finance. They weren't just in tech. We've got other types of companies coming as well. I mean, this is for folks that want to grow their business here or move here. And the feeling is incredible because they're just happy to hear from the mayor, how can I help? Or from the DDA, here's a small financial gesture that we understand is a fraction of your costs, but it reinforces our message that we're here to do what we can in a variety of ways, right? Whether that's helping them figure out living situations, office, where they want to locate in the DDA, of course, and also schools and all of those other things.
And
also, I just wanted to say that when we spoke to Blackstone initially, that was one of the things that they were blown away by, the fact that we were so welcoming in Miami. You have the mayor welcoming people, you have, the DDA and everybody in the Beacon Council as well, giving them economic incentives and really figuring it out. And within like 30 days or a record time, they were able to get incentives from Miami, the city, the county, the DDA, and they just really appreciated the fact that it is a gesture. It's not that much money, but the fact that we went out of our way to welcome them. They said, in New York, they're like, they don't care about us. And that's made a big difference. And I know the mayor has seen that, and he's, on the front lines of that, really welcoming people. And it's huge for us right now.
I'm just gonna agree with Danette there. I think what I'm seeing with entrepreneurs and tech companies who are thinking about moving to Miami or just moved to Miami, they are not even surprised, they're shocked by how our organizations work together and how much we communicate with each other and how we share information and make connections for them. It surprises me how shocked they are. And it just shows me that the communities they're coming from, I guess, just aren't as transparent or connected as they find themselves here.
And I'll just take one step further and say it's not only that they're not transparent or connected, is that they are literally actively pushing them away.
Yeah.
I mean, they're literally, in the case of some elected officials saying F Elon Musk, in the case of other elected officials pushing away Amazon, which was going to locate its second headquarters in New York. I mean, there are things that just are shocking, frankly, when you see the lost opportunities. And in my humble opinion, and you all don't have to say this, the negligence, you know what I mean, when your job is to try to create opportunities for your residents, and instead you're pushing it away.
Yeah, that's what I'm hearing in my conversations with business as well. Let's jump over to innovation real quick. Melissa, what does Miami's emergence as a tech and innovation hub really mean for residential agents and brokers like today's audience? And also I'm thinking about like crypto, prop tech, landing pads for urban air mobility vehicles.
Yeah, so at the end of the day, what the Tech and Innovation Hub means for all of you as agents and brokers is it means more business. It really does. It means homes and condos for founders, their growing teams. And I think big picture and long term, and I think even more exciting, is that a thriving tech hub creates a positive snowball effect, right? So more high paying jobs, innovative solutions, more people in a community means more customers for restaurants. It means more vibrancy. And so I think it at the end of the day, it just means we're creating a long-term thriving community, and you will have more business, I think, because of that. And one more thing I would add is that I believe growing up, born and raised here in Miami, Miami has always been seen as a gateway to Latin America, which of course is still that way, and I think is very, very important. But in my opinion, over the last several years, and even more so now, Miami has become an international hub. And I think that is very exciting news for all of us, really. So it means more business, more business.
Yeah, and agents are on the front lines, really.
Yeah.
You're seeing everybody before we do, so it's great.
Nitin, what elements of Miami World Center specifically appeal to tech and finance companies? And don't forget to mention your drone landing pad.
Well, it all starts to what, where it started with Melissa many years ago. So we tap right into the NAP Center. But look, so I think our office building is obviously going to have, great infrastructure to support whether the finance firms are looking for, which is high-speed trading in many cases, or what the tech firms are looking for, which is the most efficient bandwidth they can get, and all the cloud redundancy backup that's available just across the street. But I think in general, a lot of these folks what they like is the community aspect. So I was having drinks with one of these folks that relocated last night. What they did, their offices in the 50s on Park Avenue, they loved being able to walk downstairs, bump into people, have these kind of moments to see people get together. And that's what they're missing. It doesn't exist in New York by that way right now. But so I think what they like is about how, we're combining public spaces, public art, resiliency, because just all the infrastructure we put in, as well as a mix of office, residential, retail. And that's why I think downtown has become so appealing to a lot of these folks that are moving. They're used to these urban environments wherever they came from. And so Miami World Center is just looking to, push the envelope on that. So wider sidewalks, more public spaces, but true mixed use. I mean, when you really think about our downtown and what's happened over the last decade, with the growth in the residential population, the office population, the hotel options, the arts, the culture, the students through all of the different universities that are involved, and now with all of the public transit infrastructure like Brightline and further improvements to Metro Mover, Metro Rail, now Tri-Rail coming into downtown. That's what these folks are used to. That's what they expect. Because I do think that one thing we should all talk about is the tri-county effect. I mean, what Amazon's process got us to do for the first time in history is work together as three counties seeking a win, thanks to Brightline's connectivity of the three counties. So that's almost a 7 million person population, which allows us to compete more. So, Danette mentioned there's a lot of these firms like Elliott who went to Palm Beach, and there's others, and a lot of the tech is happening in Broward, as an example. And Blackstone chose their office location because they wanted access to Broward and Palm Beach, not just Miami-Dade, because when they're sitting in New York, they have opportunities to access New Jersey and Connecticut as well. So I think that this connectivity between the tri-county is important. Miami World is certainly looking to capitalize on that, being at the stop right in the heart of downtown.
Yeah, absolutely. the fact that Brightline is here is giving employers a wider access to employees. Danette, you recently brokered the deal that brought the private equity firm Blackstone and its 200 employees to 2 Miami Central. How important was proximity to Brightline and other rail services to the company? And does it speak to Miami's evolving strength?
So that was definitely a big consideration for Blackstone to select Miami Central for its headquarters here, or its technology division to move down here to Miami. It gives them, it widens their reach to talent. So with the Brightline, I'm actually disappointed that Brightline's not open yet. They're supposed to open back up at the end of the year. But there's just so much movement in South Florida right now. People from Palm Beach, downtown Fort Lauderdale, and Miami. And there's a lot of talent throughout South Florida. And so they saw that as an opportunity to really connect to the rest of the talent, just like the other tenants that we have in the building, like Ernst & Young, Carlton Field, Cisneros Group, all of these recognize, the connection to the talent. And I think that transportation is something, we have the best transportation, the downtown, throughout the entire state. And it's only going to get better with Tri-Rail coming into downtown. So it expands that transit hub, and also the monorail that's, going to go to the beach, and it'll be a few blocks away from Brightline. So we really are seeing a Grand Central Station. And then Brightline with the Tri-Rail coming east, there's going to be multiple stops. So being from New York, I refer to it as the local. So it's like the local train. So there's going to be a stop in Wynwood, Design District, Aventura. Aventura Station is already under construction. And then Brightline is going to eventually go to Orlando. That's all, I think more than 50% of the line is already done. The station is going to go to the airport, and then it's also going to go to Disney, and then eventually to Tampa as well. So really it's great. It's a great connection for all of South Florida, all of Florida.
Yes, it's transformative, to say the least.
To say the least, yeah.
Did we lose the mayor? Is he still on?
I don't see him on the line.
I'm here.
He's there, he's there.
Oh, okay.
Which locations? He's there.
All right, Mayor. Okay.
Mayor, I have you on my cell phone. Got the back of one of my. It's just a really cool little technology that I got here. So.
Okay, so let me
Multitask.
Yeah.
Hello?
Okay, so
Yeah, multitask. Exactly.
let's talk about the city's current infrastructure. So given the current infrastructure, does the city have the capacity to accommodate a growing population because of these corporate relocations and expansions? What are your thoughts on that?
Absolutely. I mean, the city not only has the capacity, but it has the ability to grow. We actually did an analysis that I did when I was a commissioner that talked about what is the delta between what is actually built and what can be built under Miami 21, assuming no zoning changes, assuming no special area plans, which of course we know there will be changes and no new zoning changes. For example, we're doing something, we just did micro units recently, and we have an ordinance coming, hopefully on a different kind of development that will create more potential density. So we not only are investing in our infrastructure in terms of transportation, but we're investing in our infrastructure from the perspective of resiliency, making sure that the city is, the most resilient city on the planet. We're investing about $200 million on climatic resiliency initiatives. We're hoping the federal government will match us to some level on those issues. And I've spoken to the president when he was president-elect directly. And he basically told me, we're going to look to you, Mayor, on climate initiatives nationally. So we have a great platform right now. I mean, I went up to Washington at the invitation of the president a couple of weeks ago, and I asked him for two things. One of them was, more vaccinations. That was on a Friday. The following Tuesday, they opened up a federal vaccination site in Miami-Dade County. The second thing I asked for, bypass the city. They did it just like one, and we are 50, 80, and we're going to now 140. So it was a pretty productive hour and a half that I spent at the Oval Office, getting us a vaccine site and $140 million in funds to help our community. But to your point on infrastructure, we're going to do everything we can from going now to Las Vegas on the 18th to look at Elon Musk's Boring Company and look at alternative transportation options for Brickell and for other parts of the city. To, as I think you mentioned, urban air mobility as another thing that we're looking at. So there is a variety of different ways that we're going to confront the infrastructure problem. But to be honest with you, I think what gives me the most excitement is when you consider the prospects of our infrastructure compared to other cities. New York is completely built out. They don't have the capacity to grow. San Francisco is limited in its capacity to grow as well. And when you look at the price differentials of a one-bedroom apartment, people constantly talk about how unaffordable Miami is in all these rankings. It drives me crazy because the Mellows, who just built a building, you can rent a one-bedroom or a two-bedroom. You can rent a one-bedroom for like $1,600, and that's an unsubsidized, market rate unit in the urban core. You can't do that anywhere in Manhattan. In Manhattan, you're lucky if you can get it for $3,500 or $4,000. In San Francisco, the same thing. So I think some of those statistics are skewed because we have a high elderly population that's living on fixed income, and it skews some of those numbers. So we need to right size those numbers so that people can't go out and continue to say that we're the most unaffordable city in the country. We are extremely affordable. We're going to continue to push progressive development policies that are going to get us, a variety of micro units and a variety of other units that, we can continue to build non-subsidized affordable housing. And then we have $100 million for affordable housing that we're getting right now a 20-to-1 leverage rate on. So we did 722 units with $10 million and $200 million of construction. If you extrapolate that out to the $100 million that we have in our Miami Forever bond, you're talking about 7,500 units and $2 billion worth of construction. And that's assuming we don't extend our CRAs, which if we extend our CRAs in Nitin, and I have been working vigorously on that for many years, you're talking about another $200 to $300 million in affordable housing. So just do the math: 7,500 for 100 million, 15,000 for 200 million, 22,500 for 300 million, and potentially 30,000 for 400 million. So you're talking about a significant amount of affordable housing over the next year that positions us to be affordable for the coming future.
Can I add just really quick from a tech infrastructure perspective, which I think is also important to know, and I know that we've mentioned the Map of the Americas in the call earlier, but just so you know, this is one of the most connected data centers in the world that was built right here in downtown. And what that means is that there is quite literally fiber underground that runs through downtown, under the bay as well. And so I think we're probably one of the most prepared cities from a tech infrastructure perspective also to be able to welcome all of these large technology companies.
Oh yeah, we are in a very unique position, and I mentioned that in all my conversations, especially these finance firms that need quick trades, fast speed trades. We're coming up to the end, but real quick, I wanted to ask Nitin about the future of commercial real estate in general and office space in particular. Is society becoming more comfortable with working virtually, and is this the end of office space?
Well, I don't think you saw it, one of the three, but I had 3 children attacking me because it's, and so I think that we're all still, while I'm very comfortable working from home, I still enjoy going into the office and being around the team. And so I think we often look at it in extremes of one way or the other. There's certain cities I wouldn't want to own an office building in on the other side of this, but I certainly think that investing in office infrastructure in Miami is a great bet going forward, because you're also going to be a COVID 2.0 building, right? A lot of these buildings are thinking about what life is like on the other side. I think people enjoy collaborating. I think it's great for young people. When I started my career on Wall Street, being around senior people and et cetera was helpful. Now, it's less important to me personally, but it is important to my team professionally. So it's important for them. It's important to me. And so I still am in the office. So I think we'll see a lot more flexibility with people, but I don't think it's going to be everyone working from home or everyone going back to business as usual. And I think really the big investment thesis is geographically, where do you see the world going in the future? And as we've shared this, this isn't a moment, it's a movement. There's a few cities like ours where I think you're seeing a lot of capital moving into the office space, understanding that it is in fact a movement and there's no turning back.
I agree with that. And what we're seeing is existing buildings changing, renovating their common areas, making it more, open, having terraces, gyms, yoga classes. It's really about the lifestyle and bringing the employees back to the office, making them feel comfortable, safe, and a place for collaboration. And so new buildings are also doing that as well. When you look at a new building and what they're doing, they're changing everything to touchless. The HVAC systems, very important. The microbial systems that they're installing everywhere, the open areas, make sure that there are bike racks, and again, the gym, the Zoom rooms now, different things like that buildings are looking, because employees want to come back to the office. Employers want them to come back, but they all want to feel safe, and it almost make it like a destination as well.
New but different, or the same, somehow the same office but in a different.
Right, and the flexibility is very important, and employers are looking at that. And employees are more productive when they're in an environment that they're comfortable in, and that they're collaborating with other colleagues and other senior managers.
Nalona, I think the other thing about that is for a while there was this trend to consolidate all the talent in these headquarter buildings. And I think what COVID has reminded, or hurricanes or earthquakes or tornadoes or whatever the challenge du jour is that that's not a great way to do it. Talent should be separated for challenges that occur, but also quality of life. People have different reasons for being in different cities or wanting to be. And so I think that's also what we're benefiting from. Blackstone or Goldman or JP Morgan aren't leaving New York City. They're growing as businesses, and they're growing elsewhere. So they're keeping a presence, but growing elsewhere. And that's where Miami can really benefit from our diverse economy and diverse talent workforce.
Okay, then. So I think, or Ileana, I think we're coming up to the end. Do I hand it back to you? Should we ask the mayor for closing remarks if he's still on?
I don't think we have the mayor anymore, but we've not gotten any questions in the chat room. So this discussion is going so well. It's already one of our most attended virtual events we've had, actually. Do we have time for maybe one or two questions from the prepared questions, Alona?
Yep. Okay, so let's do it. I wanted to ask Melissa. 2014, Emerge Americas has been, since that time, has been Miami's signature tech event, attracting the best and the brightest startups and innovators from around the world to launch, build, and scale their ideas here. After canceling last year's event due to COVID, we're eager to know when the next Emerge is going to take place and what can we expect?
Thanks for that question. So I think it's important to know that the conference is definitely our signature event that we launched in 2014, but Emerge Americas is much more than a conference. It's a platform, and it's a year-round effort. I mean, year-round, my team and I were hosting workshops and master classes and pitch events, panel discussions, and basically continuing our efforts to foster a thriving tech and entrepreneurial hub here in South Florida. But to answer your question about the actual conference, we'll be back. I mean, we have to take into consideration safety, of course, because of the pandemic. But I think the silver lining is that this boom here in South Florida is here to stay. And so when we're ready to host Emerge again, which hopefully will be at the end of this year or spring of 2022, I think the momentum will be on our side. And I think there'll be a large congregation of entrepreneurs, business executives, government officials, investors from all over the world. And we're going to be shining a light on all of the amazing work that has been done in South Florida to create kind of this thriving ecosystem that's happening right now. So to answer your question, we will be back. We're not going anywhere. And we're still just excited as we have been about continuing our efforts.
We're all looking forward to getting back to somewhat normal and be back at Emerge.
Thanks.
Sure.
Do we have time for one more question? Okay, so this is for whichever panelist wants to answer. What are the next steps to keep Miami's population coming in a manageable, healthy fashion? And how can we encourage these people that are coming to actually stay?
I mean, that's a long answer to that question. Sure. I think the part about getting them to stay is, I think, continuing to welcome them as a community and do what we can to support their efforts across the board. You know, for a long time, we weren't known as a community that was so hospitable. And I think that's changed dramatically. And I think that's a great thing, because we're welcoming the new, and they're quickly integrating into our community, which means they're quickly giving back to philanthropic endeavors that we're all working on, our civic duties and boards. So I think the more we can continue to keep our arms open and welcome them, the better off we are. And as far as moving them, you know, moving people in a healthy way, I think the mayor covered it. You know, we've got to continue to focus on infrastructure investments and improve our education, because everyone's asking the questions about resiliency. And they know there's no silver bullet that's going to solve all problems, but they're seeing that our heads aren't buried in the sand. We're focused and we're working on it. So I think that's great. But I think the education is also something we're constantly asked about. So while we have great private schools, they're all very full and busy, and were before this migration. And our public schools continue to make improvements, and we need to continue to remind people that that is the case. Because there's a lot of good stuff to tell. And then the other thing is just the talent base. And so I think we're seeing great efforts, not just in the undergrad, in the undergrad and professional services. I mean, dealing with President Rosenberg immediately called President Frank. What can we do to help? What should we be doing? We want to be talking to the private sector. So I think that, and they're not the only ones, there's just so much time to name all of the folks. And there's more collaboration amongst the universities going into Broward and Palm Beach with Miami for the first time. So you're seeing all of this coordination and collaboration, which is incredible, because that's what we need. We need to show people that talent is here, will come here, and there's no shortage of it.
And you can make a big difference in Miami. You know, one person can make a big difference here versus somebody in New York. And that's also, I think, very attractive to people as well.
Danette, I completely agree. I think the opportunity for the folks that are moving into South Florida, Miami now, is that they could become part of the fiber and the DNA of what's next for Miami. And so they play a big role in it. And I think that will allow them to not only make this their city, but to make this their community, to make this their home. And I think that's key in welcoming these new folks.
Well said.
Okay.
So
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, guys, this was more than we expected, but we knew we're getting prepared for the information we're going to receive. Ilona, Mayor Suarez, Danette, Melissa, and Nitin, thank you all so much for that insightful and inspiring presentation and for everything you're doing for our city. This is such an exciting time for Miami and for our community. And as we slowly emerge from this pandemic and embrace the opportunities in front of us, I want to thank all of my MBF board members, especially the event chairs, Donna Bloom, Ralph Martino, Pat Parker, and Chris Zoller, for making this panel such an incredible success. With a special thank you, I haven't seen her, but she may be around, Alicia Cervera La Madrid. Master Brokers, thank you for attending and for participating. We will keep the Zoom for a little while longer, for a few minutes, for anyone else who would like to stay on. Good night. Thank you all.
Thank
Good night. Thank you
Great,
so much.
great
Thank you,
job,
Melissa.
Ileana.
Perfect.
Ileana,
Chris.
congratulations on your initial job. You got many years to go.
Don't scare me like that.
Deanna's a
Thank you,
rock-
Danette.
Bye. Thank you so much.
And then one running with his kids.